Hey guys, welcome back to Grave Reviews. My name is Chris, and tonight I've checked out this new movie called Beezel. It is directed by Aaron Fradkin and written by Aaron and his wife, Victoria Fradkin. The movie is about an evil witch that lives in the basement of this house. And no, I'm not talking about their mother-in-law. Yeah, it is about an evil witch that lives in the basement of this house, and the movie takes place over 60 years, and you kind of jump around to different timelines exploring what has occurred in the house. Up front, blanket thoughts of the movie is it was entertaining, and I thought when it started it had a really great premise and an interesting setup. But as the movie goes on, it plays out more as an anthology piece rather than a straight narrative following the same characters. And unfortunately, I feel like the movie gets less and less interesting the further in you get. That's not to say there's not like cool, spooky scenarios playing out through the whole movie, but I thought that the interesting storyline that presented itself at the beginning was kind of lost, and the movie kind of became repetitive in a way. The initial setup with a documentarian coming to this house, sitting with this odd person, and us, the viewer, being kind of a proxy for this documentarian, I thought served the movie perfectly. It set up enough creepiness, but enough interesting questions of what is actually occurring at this house. And when that whole scenario wrapped up in about 10 to 15 minutes, I wasn't quite sure where the movie was going to go. And that's when the second anthology piece starts, and I realized that it lost a whole bunch of steam. And by the time you get to the third, or I guess technically the fourth story in this film, which is the longest one, I kind of became uninterested. Now, before we get into the storyline, I will say that the movie does look great for a lower budget film. I think it's lit well. I think it fuses like found footage and a standard like cinematic look really well, because for the most part it gives you reasons of why we're jumping into the found footage scenarios, and it definitely adds to a lot of the creepiness throughout the film. There's times later in the movie though where I'm questioning why we're still including found footage, and it just feels like it becomes gimmicky at that point. And it's unfortunate that like everything at the beginning of the movie is really compelling and interesting and makes sense, and as the movie gets on longer and longer, it starts to lose most of that. From a filmmaking standpoint though, I think it's really an intelligent movie. Basically making an anthology in one location and reusing the same premise over and over again and adding a little bit here and there, but mostly just playing with the scares and a little bit with time periods, although that's not even really that important. But what it does is it gives you an incredible amount of stuff for trailers and for marketing purposes. And so I know this guy has made a ton of viral short films, and this just feels like kind of the culmination of a bunch of horror shorts jammed together, reusing the same premise over and over again. But from a marketing standpoint, filmmaking standpoint, it seems really intelligent. And I think the movie is very well made and well shot and well lit, and the scares are effective for the most part and good. I'm a little cynical for this stuff. I didn't really get scared at all or feel much, but I'm kind of, I don't know, it takes a different kind of scare to usually get to me. More of a psychological slow burn kind of thing usually works better for me. So I enjoyed the movie while I was watching it, but nothing really stuck. I did think the last story, which unfortunately again is the longest one, was probably the worst. That story seemed to drag the longest. I think if they would have stuck with the first story between the documentarian and the homeowner and just made a whole feature and drug that out in a slower burn kind of pace, for me that would have been much more of an interesting movie. But as it stands, it's a fun, quick watch. So I will give this a 6 out of 10. And it is out now, and it's a good, decent watch for the spooky season. So if you're looking for something new, maybe give it a chance. It might really click with you. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Grave Reviews on Beezel, and I will catch you here next time. Goodbye.